This is the Fujifilm GFX50S II medium format camera. Fantastic resolution, amazing dynamic range, beautiful colors. All in all, a great camera. I can't wait to get rid of it. So, why the heck did I buy it in the first place? Because it was on my list of desirable items that I aspired to own, and I had one particular project in mind that I wanted to use this camera for. Having had it for 8 months now, however, I realized that it's just not the right fit for me. I love medium format photography and I have owned other medium format cameras in the past. My first one was the Mamiya RZ67, which I hardly used because I bought it at a time in my life when I couldn't afford to buy and develop film, so that was kinda dumb. Later, at the peak of my career as a stock photographer, I picked up a Pentax 645Z, which is probably one of my all-time favorite cameras. At the time, you were able to sell these ultra high resolution images for premium on the stock sites, so this was an investment that paid for itself. The Pentax was an absolute tank though, and very impractical for a lot of purposes, but it suited me perfectly at the time, and I created some of my best photos with this camera. Then, I bought my first Leica, the M9P, and that changed everything for me. One thing I love about medium format photography is how your subject will separate from the background and just like render this 3D pop. The Leica M does that, or rather the Leica Summicron or Summilux lenses do that. There is absolutely nothing that can compare to the Leica lens. A Hasselblad 500 cm with a Carl Zeiss lens does come pretty close. So a few years ago, I bought one of those too. Actually, I bought two, and I sold one of them for a profit because it had a desirable serial number. On that topic, the Hasselblad 500 was actually my dream camera when I was a kid. When I was maybe 7 or 8, I decided that one day I will own a Hasselblad 500. And I do. I still have one, which is another reason for selling the GFX50. I don't need two medium format cameras. Sure, one is film, one is digital, but for what I'm doing, and want to be doing, I need a camera that I want to shoot, a camera that I want to take with me everywhere I go, a camera that reminds me of why I love photography, a camera that just feels right. And for me, that's a Leica rangefinder. I shoot slowly and deliberately, and what I'm drawn to is the little things, the beauty in the mundane. And I grew up with film cameras, and I still shoot like a film photographer. Go to a workshop with me or something like that, and other photographers will stuff their memory cards with 1,000 shots. I'll go home with maybe 60. So, 2 rolls of film basically. I first picked up a camera in the early 1990s, and modern cameras annoy the crap out of me. You want to turn off your autofocus? Sure. Just need to go through 20 menu items and another 3 sub-menus. And yes, of course this applies to the GFX50 as well. So many menus. There's a lot to love about this camera though. For starters, compared to some other medium format cameras I've used, it's kinda small. I've used it for street photography, and the size and weight of it with the 63mm lens I've been using is not a hindrance for that kind of work. But it just doesn't feel right. It's not a street camera because it looks like an expensive pro camera. A brand new Leica with a lens would cost like 3 times as much as this, but it just doesn't get noticed the same way. Normies don't know how expensive it is, or think of it as something valuable or pro when they see it. I tried the GFX out in a studio recently, and that felt right. It feels like a studio camera. And that's the kind of work I had in mind when I got it. I wanted to do more work with models and more fine art studio type kind of stuff. But you know what? Fine art studio photography? I already have a freaking Hasselblad for that. Working in a studio with models for fashion, editorial or something like that, you might want fast and accurate autofocus, which I think this camera has. But for bringing to life some weird surreal concept you have in your mind, you can move slower and more deliberately. In other words, shoot on film. Speaking of working with clients, one thing that the GFX50 has that's really awesome is the Fujifilm simulations. I hate showing a work in progress to anyone, especially raw photos to clients as I'm shooting them. With the film simulations, you're a little bit closer to the final edit, and I personally feel much more comfortable showing the shots to clients and collaborators. So that's one thing I had planned for this camera, more studio work. Another thing I wanted to do was take it on a road trip, shoot some big sweeping landscapes and ultra high-res shots of the towns and places I plan to visit. Due to unforeseen circumstances, I had to postpone that trip, but looking at the shots I have taken on the road, it's easy to see that the GFX would absolutely shine in this scenario. So what have I learned and what am I going to do next? Well, I'm gonna try and sell this, and I'm gonna try to think harder about whether something that is aspirational and desirable is actually useful to me or suitable for my situation at any given time. And forget about cameras. I think this is a lesson everyone can apply to their life. At some point, I decided that I really wanted this camera. I didn't think about why I wanted it or needed it. I just decided that I wanted it. And then, blinded by the desire for it, I started making up reasons for why I needed it. And you know what? I've done this kind of thing before. What's the cause of this? Is it boredom? Is it a type of procrastination? You're in some creative limbo and you deliberately prolong it by telling yourself that you need this object of desire. Funny thing though, the things I desired as a child, like the Hasselblad, and imagined I would possess one day as an adult, those things stuck and just hit differently than the stuff I have found myself attracted to as an adult. I have no regrets about getting my Hasselblad. I don't use it much, but I don't ever want to part with it. I wanted a Leica as well growing up, and I deeply regret selling the one I had. When I bought both of these cameras, the Hasselblad and the Leica M9, I wasn't actively looking for them, and I didn't yearn for them, but I did remember that I had wanted them as a child. It's almost as if obtaining them created a link to some subconscious manifestation from years before and closed the loop. I might have to dive deeper into this.